like to start out this video by giving a shout out to Halloween at the Manor, whose Mary Shaw Tombstone video I used as an inspiration. Link below. Let's make this Texas Chainsaw Massacre inspired tombstone. I started off by taking a 2x8 and cutting it into two sections that were 18 inches and two sections that were 20 inches. And then I screwed it all together to make a nice little box. Next I got a piece of plywood and I traced out the shape of the box. Once I had it cut out, I secured it into place. Then I made another square out of 2x4s that were 13 by 13. Then I secured it from the bottom, like that. Sturdy. I got a full sheet of plywood and had the nice gentleman at Home Depot cut two sections at 13 and 2x9. Next I'm going to frame it out with these 2x2x8 furring strips. Attach them to the back end of this, and then we'll attach them to our base. Next we'll take our 13-inch wide sections and attach them to the furring strips that are on the 9-inch sections. Now it's starting to come together and actually sort of looks like a tombstone. Next we'll get out the miter saw and some of this trim. We'll cut them at 45-degree angles for a little accent. I also cut the furring strips and capped off the top. Next I'm going to cover the wood with 1/2-inch foam board and some Gorilla Glue heavy-duty construction adhesive. I'm going to fill the seams here with some all-purpose caulk. And then I just smooth it out with my finger. I had too wide of a gap on the one side, so I used spray foam to fill it. I hot glued a piece of the 1/2-inch foam board to cap the top, and then found this scrap piece of 2-inch foam board that I put on top of that. Alright, I got every side covered with the foam board, and I smoothed out all the areas where I used caulk. I also changed out the trim at the bottom, because I didn't account for the foam board when I cut the other trim. Whoops. I also cut down the side that I used spray foam to fill in and smoothed it out too. Now on to hitting it with the heat gun to give it a little texture. Next I'm going to paint the entire tombstone with gray dry lock and then weather it with a multitude of colors and water. First I mixed a brown and a green for this dirty doo-doo color. Then you spray it all over the tombstone and then hit it with water and let it drip. The same with the black color like this. Just let it drip on down. For the head I'm going to use this foam skull my friend Chris from Decompositions Corpse Creations gave me. A couple of white eyeballs and the nose from this mask. First I'm going to start with some air dry foam clay. I'm going to shove it in the nose there to fill it. Like so. Next I'll fill in the mouth and the eye sockets of the skull with the foam clay and then shove those eyeballs right in. Then I'll start building up the muscle structure around the skull. Look at that. Muscle structure. Let's stick on that nose. This guy looks dumb as hell. But yeah, well that's it's a process. And this is the process for this nose. Now it's on to Loctite spray foam. I'm gonna cover this entire head in Loctite. Shout out to Keith from Cobwebs and Candlesticks for showing me this method. After about 10 minutes or so, you can start molding the Loctite. The other way to do this is after a few minutes, you can start spraying it with water to remove some of the tackiness so you can do the same thing. Also going to hit this partial skull with some Loctite as well. And then repeat the entire process. Alright, this dude needs some eyelids because this looks dumb. So we're just going to use this air dry modeling clay and throw those babies on. After the eyelids are up to your standards, we're going to cover this entire thing with Mod Podge and some shop towels. You can do blue, you can do white shop towels, whatever. Alright, so I've got every part, every nook, cranny, and crevice of spray foam covered on this thing. with some shop towels, and we're going to let that sucker dry. For the other skull, I'm going to try some different stuff. First, I'm just going to cover all this foam in some permablood. See what we get from that. It looks pretty cool to me. Then maybe let's put some stain on it. Hey, what the hell? Let's do it. A little bit of stain on there, trying to get this thing look as gross as possible. All right, while this all dries, then we're going to start framing out the body to put on the tombstone. I'm going to start with some PVC, a little 1-inch, a couple of 45s, a couple of 90-degree angles. Went thrifting for a suit and some very large pants and cut a hole in the back of them. I'm going to use the torso from an old skeleton. Attach a little PVC on the spine. Then I'm going to drill holes into the sides of the tombstone to attach the legs in there. Cut it to fit one of the 45-degree elbows. Sprayed some spray foam in there. Stuck that sucker into place and then spray foamed it some more. Took some old skeleton legs and attached the PVC. When I say attached, I mean taped it to it. Let's fit those pants right over that tombstone. I'm going to slide the legs up through the pants, connect it into the 45-degree elbow. Repeat for the other side. Going to get those pants to stay up with a staple gun. I attached a longer piece of PVC to the torso, and I'm going to attach that separately to the tombstone. So, yeah, this is going to be in 2 separate pieces. Screwed the shoes into the PVC pipe so they don't fall off. And then for the arms, I just screwed PVC right into the bone at the elbow joint. Dressed him back up with his shirt. And this is what he's looking like so far. I just put the skull there for the time being just so I could get him in the right spot. Back to the head here. As you can see, I ended up painting it red. Then I start painting in his teeth one by one and making them nice and white. Then I'm going to go back over it with some of this stain to give it a little dirty look. There we go. Dirty. So at this point, I've covered this thing in polyacrylic and fake hair. And then I decided, you know what? I don't really like that red color.
You son of a bitch.
So I took it back to this white color, and then I mixed some honey brown with green to make this putrid doo-doo color. I think it looks much better. I'm going to use some of this Monster Maker's Perma-Wet on there instead. I want to see how this works. Yep, he is permanently wet. I'm going to try something I've been wanting to do. I got some of this clear silicone caulk. I'm going to cover this head in this thing to give it that gross gel look. Like that. Next, I got a pair of these zombie hands. I'm going to fill them with some polyfill. Stuff those suckers whole just like that. I'm going to cut the nails off. We don't need them to be all looking like that. Going to mix that honey brown and green for that putrid color again. Get that all painted. Let it dry. Then I'll paint the other side. Then once it's dry, I'm going to fill the end here with some spray foam. I'm going to take this dowel rod and insert it in the top of the tombstone so I can get the skull in place. Get it in spot and I spray foamed it tight. Next, I just cut down a regular piece of foam, slid that over the dowel rod, and then slid the skull on top of that until I got it in the spot that I thought it looked good. Now I'm going to cover the entire thing with some more spray foam. And once it gets to that sweet spot, I'm going to sculpt it. And once it's dry, cover it in some more dry lock. Next, I took about 3 inches of the 1-inch PVC, stuck it in the back end of the spray foam on the hand. Then I'm going to attach those smaller pieces to the arms here, and then slide the hands over. Once that dry lock is dry, we're going to weather that little spiked piece. All right, so I'm going to get the hands in the spot that I want them, and I'm going to secure them right to the tombstone. Just screw them suckers right to it. I put some permablood on this bone that I put behind his hands. Got his head in the spot I wanted it and glued it into place with some hot glue. Back to the clear silicone for more of that ooky gooky jelly look. Whatever you want to call it. It looks gross and I like it. I like it. Make sure we get a little gel on that collar and suit there, buddy. All right, so now we're going to mix green with red with honey brown to make super doo-doo brown. Thin it out with some water and put it in our spray bottle. We'll start getting this guy all filthy looking. Once that's done, you've got it, champ. You made one Texas Chainsaw Massacre inspired tombstone. Looking all grody and gross. I like it.